Greetings and salutations. I have my tea mug and no tea. This is sad. Fix that. That is amazing. I brought pie. Can you tell I'm a Hufflepuff? Hi, everyone. I am Star. You guys know me from CONjuration. I do the tarot at the tea party that we do every year. And so today we're going to do tarot tips and tricks. I started this panel with Kath last year, and we had an absolute blast. It started out as a little, it was kind of almost like under the stairs. We were literally sitting under the stairs waiting for a room to open up, and we just had a little powwow on the floor, which is kind of how tarot tends to be up close and personal. So anyways, we're going to talk about, if you're new to tarot, what to expect as a person if you're wanting to do tarot for other people, and how to, or if you're a person who's wanting to get a tarot reading done, what to expect. So we're going to kind of look at it from both sides. And I'm going to use Angela at some point probably as a volunteer, or I have some other people that I might use as well. But anyway, so we're going to get started. So I'm so excited. It's CONjuration, you guys. It's CONjuration 2020. Woo! So anyways, I hope everyone is keeping up on the Discord channel, figuring out what your rank and your house point numbers are. Woot. So look on the Discord channel. So anyways, so I've been doing tarot, I started in the 90s. And I started out with the traditional, which is the Rider White. I can never say it. The deck hates me anyways. I had the traditional one that everyone always starts with. It was given to me. There's a superstition that if you do tarot, that your first deck is supposed to be given to you rather than one that you choose. And so I had one given to me, and it was the traditional one, and it hated me. It never worked. So I thought that tarot was not going to be for me. And then one day I was at Borders. Rest in peace, Borders. We love you. And I came across Brian Froud, who I absolutely adore. You guys probably all know Brian Froud from Labyrinth and Dark Crystal. Anyways, and this is an oracle deck. So it's a little bit different from a tarot deck. This one is what spoke to me. And so there are different types of decks, and that's one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about. So this is an oracle deck, and then I do have, this one is an actual tarot, the traditional kind. It's just different pictures, and it's got such pretty artwork. So when you are looking at decks, I said decks. When you're looking at decks, you want to find one that feels right for you. So there's so many different kinds. You can get one that are like really dark and have, they're more like gothy. You can find ones that are more like totems for like animal spirits. It's whatever you want. You want to find, it's the whole point of magic, right, guys? You find what feels right to you. So these two feel right to me because they're fairies. And I'm just a fairy, can't you tell? So anyways, so these are the ones that we're going to play with today. So I've been using this one, I can't even tell you, since like 2000 and something. And then this one I've started using the last couple of years. I actually do a combination. So we'll talk about spreads later. I like to mix and match them. I started doing that last year, and it makes the experience even cooler because I have people pick out their cards. And we'll talk about that in just a second. So anyways, so when you get ready to do a reading, what you're doing is you're creating a safe space for another person. What would you like me to do? Oh, we're going to set these up here.
Would you like me to tilt this so you're more in frame?
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. So anyways, thank you. So the lipstick, it's Maybelline, maybe it's Maybelline, and it's matte. And I just did one color on the top and one color on the bottom. So anyways, and it don't go nowhere. Yay. So anyhow, let me actually get my deck. So when you are doing a reading, you're tapping into the collective unconsciousness, right? That's what magic is. It's all of our energy, because that's what magic, it's energy, it's vibration. When you're wanting to access the highness, will you set this up and make it look pretty? And will you find my cards for me? They're in here. I have a lovely assistant, Vale. Vale is my assistant. They're gonna do stuff. So anyways, if you find my cards. So when you are going to do a reading for someone, you are tapping into the collective unconsciousness. Some people think of it as God. Some people think of it as fairy. Some people think of it of angels, spirituality, whatever it is for you. It's magic, it's religion, it's spirituality, it's all of that stuff. So you're collecting into it. So you want to kind of like shield yourself, but also be open. So I like to kind of think of a white and purple light that's around me and the person that I'm working with. And it's kind of like think of it like a filter, like a veil. It's a veil. So that's their nickname. So it's a veil. So what it is you're filtering in, you're letting the good energy kind of come through so that you can tap into it and help that person that you're working with while keeping out anything that's too negative and that is going to hinder what the reading for that person.
A scientific idea that is a semi-permeable membrane.
Ooh, a semi-permeable membrane. Yep. Oh, and then I also have a relaxation deck, and we'll talk about that in just a second. So I'll set that down right there. All right. So my cards. Okay. So these are this is kind of the thing that you want to be looking at. You want to be looking at the cards because the cards are pretty. So we're going to spread them out. So what I do is, Miss Angela, I'm going to ask you to think of something. We've done this before. I've done this with Miss Angela. Everyone say hello to Miss Angela. Miss Angela, say hello to the world because you are amazing and we love you, Mama.
But I'm not here.
You're not here. She's not here. She's behind the camera. She doesn't exist. So I'm just using her as an example. So when I am doing a reading, I'll say, okay, I want you to think about something. Because normally when you go to a reading, you have something on your mind. You're wanting to think about work, or you're wanting to know what your love life has got going on, or you want to know about the house that you're trying to close on, or whatever. You're wanting to find out about your past, present, future, that kind of a thing. So I like to tell a person, think about what it is that you're wanting, why you're here. If you don't have a specific question, be open. Just like let your mind kind of just be open and receptive. And so while I'm asking that, I shuffle the cards. And you're doing this for a couple of reasons. You shuffle cards to clear the past energy, and you're kind of aligning it to the person that you're working with. So I'm wanting to get my energy attuned to their energy. I'm using this as a focus. It's cards, playing cards. Some people literally use playing cards to do tarot. Vale uses, one of the things when we get to the Q&A part, Vale actually uses Magic the Gathering cards as their tarot cards, which is pretty cool, like modern day witchcraft, right? You use your gaming. So I'll do this, and then I spread it out, and then Angela will get a picture of this. But I take this, and I take it on the table, and I spread it out. And what that does is I'm allowing all of these cards to be up for grabs, because you want them to be where they can get, felt. So I'm going to do it this other one. So I start with a 3-card spread. There's different types. There's the 3 is past, present, and future. And then I kind of expand upon that. There's a Celtic cross, which is like a big one. You can do 5. If you're starting out, start with 3. Past, present, future. Easy peasy. You can even do 1. 1 cards are good when you're starting out, when you're just wanting to learn about the cards. You do like a 1 card a day spread kind of a thing. So I'm like, hey, think about what you're wanting to do. And so I'll be doing this. And then I have them, if they want to shuffle the cards, I'll let them shuffle the cards too. Because I want them to have their energy in this as well. So then I'm going to spread it out. And then I'm going to say, all right, Miss Angela, you've been thinking about what you're doing. Will you pick out, and then I want you to put them, if you'll put them like 1, 2, 3, if you'll pick 3 cards from either deck. Just pick 3 cards face down in any position that you want. Cool. Awesome. All right. So we're going to look at this as past, present, future, because that's the way that she laid them out. Okay. I flip this way. And the reason why is and some people use what's called the reverse. The reverse of a card has a different meaning than when it's right side up. So, for example, this one, what is this? A 2 of wands, 2 of swords. I can't even read that. It's a 2 of something. We'll get to it in a second, but it's in reverse. So it has a specific meaning. So when you turn them over this way, you're showing the orientation that the client or the person that you're working with, that this is the way that they put it down. So I want to keep it in line with how they gave it to me. So sometimes you'll get, when, like if she was pulling these out, and say sometimes like another one will jump out with it. That's called a jumper. So sometimes you'll get what's a jumper, and that'll go along with whatever card that they were originally pulling. And that usually means it's a card that's wanting to assist or provide extra context. There's a reason why that card goes along with that other one. So if you ever like a person go, oh, you got a jumper, that's what that means. All right. So we're going to start with the past. Usually I use this as kind of like a base card. This kind of gets me aligned with where that person is, like in relation to what their query is. It kind of gives like a basis of where the reading is going to go. So it may not be like this is your long past. It could be a recent past. So we just kind of have to see. So anyways, let's get into this. So 2 of swords. So the way that I do this, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the card, because the first thing, there are meanings that come with it. That's what the book is for. I have Swiss cheese brain. I cannot remember anything. So I use the book, but I like to look at the card first. Again, it's energy. I want to kind of get an idea off of this. So I want to look at this. The first thing that I notice is I see a shrouded figure with 2 swords, but then I also see 2 swans and then a heart and then a crescent moon. So my first impression of this is I'm thinking of like the fragility of, to me, this is, I don't know if this will make sense to you. I was just talking about this the other day. I was talking about how you and Chris got married at it was the 2nd year of CONjuration, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever you were thinking of, to me, this is making me think of kind of like, I'm thinking of like y'all's relationship and your love. And this has something to do with, this is like almost like the turning point. So I'm looking at this as almost like, it was like the moment like that y'all got married at the con is kind of like what I was thinking of, because you've got like the love here and everything. So this is kind of like but the card's in reverse. So to me, it means that there was like an instability. So for me, it just means like it was extra energy because of where we were at or whatever. So, because I'm doing this with you guys, I'm not actually getting to concentrate as much. So I'm not being as in tune with everything. So I'm probably not doing as good of a reading as I normally would, because it's more about talking to you guys than it is about actually doing the reading. But that's kind of what you do, is you kind of feel it out and you talk to them, because ultimately what tarot is, it's a safe space to kind of have almost like a therapy session with a person, because they're having questions and you're trying to answer it. And that's what it is. It's like therapy. So anyways, so we're going to open up a little bit to questions at the moment. But so that's kind of how you start this. So I would normally go, okay, so I'm going to look at the past and look at the present and then look at the future. And then I'm going to have them, and I'll ask them, like, does this make sense with what you're thinking about? And they'll either say yes or no, and you kind of go off of that. See, yeah, some people use like just regular decks of cards and it works because it's a focus. Because all this is, it's a piece of paper. There's nothing inherently magical about this piece of paper. It's a focus. It's a focus. It's almost like a portal. Think of it as a portal between you and another person. Intent. That's all it is. Intent in a piece of paper. Yep. So anyways, so I'll ask them, does this feel right or whatever? And then normally, almost always, they'll need more than 3 cards. So then I'll have them pick more. And then we can just kind of build from there. So that's the kind of the basis of how a reading kind of goes. So anyways, all that being said and done, let's start with some questions. What kind of questions do you guys have? I'm gonna have to read all of this stuff. What am I looking at? Oh, yes. Make sure you mention your house when you comment for the chance to earn house points. You can just put G, R, H, or S. I am a Huffleclaw. So, yay Hufflepuffs. Yay Ravenclaws. As a Hufflepuff, I love all of the houses. Just be you, boos. I love y'all. Okay. So, everyone can see in here. Oh, yay. All right. Let me take a second to breathe. All right.
Remember when you answer a question on chat? That
Yes.
Not everyone will have their notifications up, so read the question before you answer.
Oh, yes. That is a good thing. All right. Lots of beautiful energy that night. Oh, yay. It's nice to know that even professionals go back to the book. Yeah. So that's the thing is I like to go first on what I feel from the card. Then I use the book. Because every card has its own base meaning, whether it's an oracle deck or a traditional deck, it has a base meaning. So you'll know that whatever it is that you feel, it'll have a root that you can go back to. So, that's kind of, it's kind of like the nature versus nurture. It's the book and the feelings. You kind of use both. So anyways, so we're going to look at this card and I'm going to look at the book so I can kind of show you what I mean when I talk about what you feel versus what the book says. So this card is, I can never say her name, Epina's Wild Daughter. Aw. 54. So to me, like, for example, this card has a lot of beautiful energy to it. It's very light and it has like a feeling of, I don't know, just exuberance with all the shadowing going on behind it. So I would kind of like start to kind of focus on what that means to me and what I'm feeling from it. And it's kind of like when you're surfing the collective unconscious, it is kind of like surfing. You have words, for me anyways. I'll just have words that kind of come into my mouth and then just kind of fall out. And they don't make sense to me, but they usually make sense to the person that I'm talking to. Because I'm just a conduit. I'm nothing. I'm just a vessel. I'm just here to kind of like, you have a question, going through it. That's kind of like how I view myself. Other people see it differently. What do you do if you see something that's not positive? So that's a really good question. I don't know who asked that question, but that was a really good question. Oh, Robin. So I've had this actually happen at CONjuration a lot. I'll feel something, and a lot of times it kind of hits me because I never want to say anything that's going to hurt someone's feelings. But if they need to hear it, they need to hear it. And usually it can be kind of a shock to the system. And sometimes a lot of times I'll cry with a person and I'll be like, I'm sorry, but like, I'm feeling this kind of way. Does it make sense to you? And a lot of times they'll immediately tear up or they'll get angry or they'll have a visceral reaction. There's a reason why they're having that visceral reaction. It's okay that it's not positive because it's not positive in their mind already. I'm just reaffirming it and showing, okay, you are valid in what you're feeling. So if it's not positive, it's, well, what do you do when you receive not positive information? You try to take what you can from it and turn it into the best outcome that you can. So it's kind of like being a counselor with someone and being like, okay, I've got some difficult news for you, and let's digest this together. How can we take that and make it into something better? So that's kind of how I look at it. Again, I look at it as therapy. So, hi. Some people say to never let other people touch your deck, but others are fine with that. What is the idea behind this? That is a great question, Abby. So that is, originally I used to be told, when I was first getting into tarot, I was told don't ever let anyone touch your deck. And the reason why is because of energy. If you cleanse your decks, which can be as simple as, this is what I kind of do between, again, if I'm talking to multiple people in a day, it can be something as simple as going, you're shaking up the energy. You're displacing the energy. You're cleansing. So for me, it's okay if other people touch it. If I need to, I can shuffle an extra more and it just gets that extra energy out. So I think the idea originally was that you didn't want other people's energies influencing your deck because you're the one that's handling it all the time. Some people still feel that way. I tend to be more of the type of person where it's a symbiotic kind of relationship that's happening. So I'm okay with their energy coming into the deck. If it feels extra negative, I may do an extra cleansing afterwards because you have to cleanse your magical stuff anyways. So at that point, why not just share it? You know, great question though. Thank you so much for asking that, Miss Abby. I'm going to have a sip of tea. Hold on one second.
Oh, what's my sugar or honey?
There's no sugar in it yet.
Okay. Honey would be amazing.
Bring her the honey and let her do it.
Oh my gosh, that is so good. Thank you so much. I love my people. Okay. Thank you for saying that about, I don't know, I just say stuff when I'm reading. I do, because yeah, the cards are paper and ink, but the magic of the symbol is real. So that's what it is. It's symbolism, because we use symbolism for everything. You have totem animals. What house are you? It's symbolism. That's all of this is. But it's taking word salad, which is just stuff coming out of your mouth and it making sense. So anyways, all right, let's find another. Great input, Abby. 5 points to Hufflepuff. Great job. Yay. Okay, I'm going to see if I can find another question. Ooh, okay. All right. So yeah, I like to, when you do cleansings, one of the things that I do is on a new moon, I will take my deck and I'll set it outside under a new moon, and it basically kind of is like banishing. It gets rid of everything. So any kind of old energy that might be in here, it kind of gets rid of it. And then what I'll do on a full moon is I'll take the same deck and just take it right back outside, usually to the same spot. And sometimes I'll lay it out. Sometimes I'll leave it just in the deck. Sometimes because it's been so wet, because yay, Georgia. So I'll even sometimes leave it in here and just kind of leave it open, because you're just still letting, and then I'll let the full moon kind of charge it. And then that's kind of like resetting it. And I do that for everything. I do that for my crystals. I do that for any kind of totemic items that carry a lot of magic for me or whatever. If anyone, especially if other people touch it, you just cleanse it whenever you want, that kind of a thing. So, all right. So like I said, I normally let people do 2 of them. And then I have a relaxation deck, which I had just a second ago. It was around here somewhere.
Right.
But, oh, thank you. So this one it's not a tarot deck. It's not an oracle deck. It's nothing like that. This one, all it is, and this is just kind of like a fun thing that I like to do. It's all kinds of crazy, cool pictures. And I let them pick out the picture. So this, instead of it being where you don't get to see what you're picking, like in normal tarot, all the cards are flipped over, so you don't know what you're picking. Well, in this one, all it is beautiful pictures. So it's whatever jumps out at you. And so then I'm like, this one right here. This is just, since we have like Salwain, it's making me think of this card right here. So I'm like, ooh, what is this? What's this card? And it's the stillness in the flame. In the eye of a storm, there's a stillness. So then it has like a little blurb on the back, and you kind of meditate on this. And a lot of times at the end of a reading, I'll ask them to pick a relaxation card. And it's kind of like, this is your Zen. This is kind of like finding your little peace moment for the next couple of days. And I try to find a way to kind of work it into their reading. So that's kind of like a little extra, little something that I like to do. Do you think that readings have to be done in person? That's a really good question, Robin. So I have done it both ways. I have done them in person where the energy definitely, for me, it's easier to do them in person, but that's, again, I have squirrel brain. So technology, like being on the phone or on video, I'm kind of scatterbrained. So it's harder for me to keep my brain focused, especially if I'm trying to like be up there and with you. So for me, it's easier to do it in person. I can do them remotely. And what I'll normally do is I'll just kind of have I'll have my phone out, because I don't have anything professional. And so I'll just take my phone out and I'll just kind of run it over it. And as if it was their hand going over the cards. And I'll say, you tell me when to stop. And I'll put my hand and the camera over it, and they'll say, stop. And then I'll pull the card. So it's like I'm pulling the card for them, but I'm still letting them choose it. So that's how I mitigate having it done remotely. How long did it take you to feel comfortable with your ability to give a reading? Erica, go Hufflepuffs. There are still days where I don't feel where I don't feel fully confident. We all have those days. I've been doing this since like the 90s. I would say that being at CONjuration and doing the tarot readings for you guys every year, that's when I feel the most confident. Y'all have actually come up to me I have certain ones of y'all that have come up to me year after year, and y'all are like, I literally came here just to have you do a reading for me. And I'm like, yes. I'll be honest, a lot of times I can't remember what I say during a reading because, again, I'm just a conduit. So it'll come out of me. I won't remember something. It'll be really profound for the person, and I'll remember having that experience with them, but I won't remember what I said. So that's kind of like a little weird aside for me. It's like a flashback. Like they'll be like, I really remember you said this. And I'm like, that's great. I have no memory of it, but I remember you. So yeah, being at CONjuration has made me feel way more professional than I ever did. But that's also because I'm 44 now, and with getting older, you just give less F's. So you just kind of are like, I'm just going to embrace it. So it's more about confidence, and I'm still learning. So I still check the book and every reading. I still, you can look in apps and like do like a daily reading to kind of like learn. And it's how much you want to hone in on your skill, honestly. What opinion do you have about the Rider-Waite deck? So, hey, Joe. So that's and again, it's hard for me to say it. Rider-Waite deck. That's a tongue twister. Because I want to say Rider-Waite, and I'm like, that's not it. Rider-Waite. It is the most traditional as far as like the artwork. It is the standard as far as like your major arcana and your minor arcana. So it does kind of set the precedence for that. But it's mostly the artwork. It's nice. It's to me, it's very retro because it is very like 60s and 70s kind of aesthetic, which I love. But the deck itself, at least the one that I had, just didn't like me for some reason. But the Stephanie one, again, it's something about, because it's fairies and it's all really pretty and soft and my aesthetic, it works for me. So it's more of an aesthetic. The cards are exactly the same. The meaning is exactly the same. It's all about just the pictures. After performing a base reading, how do you decide if you want to draw more cards for more information, and how do you approach drawing extra cards? Thanks, Hufflepuff. Sal. Normally, again, so for me, I like to start with the 3, the past, present, future. I almost always feel like there's something extra that can always be said. I am of the type of person, I will let people, especially if I have the time for it. Now, if I'm at CONjuration, I'll kind of keep it to 3 up to 5. But normally if I'm doing a reading, I kind of let the person just go. So if they feel the need to keep pulling cards, I'll let them. And because I let them place it. And so it's just kind of in relation. And sometimes, sometimes the area is really murky and you're having all of these little micro questions and sometimes it's really cut and dry and you're like, oh, I totally get what that meaning was and I feel better, done. And sometimes you're like, I'm not really sure what it is and I need extra, a little extra info. I'm fine with that. Now, there will be a point, I've had maybe once or twice where it felt like a person was just kind of like, they really wanted to pull like every card in the deck. But you kind of it's a feeling, like you kind of get that gut reaction, like, okay, I feel like they're probably done and they're just not sure if they're done. And then that's when you, as the person doing the reading, when you feel like it's, and I'll be like, okay, do you feel like your question was really answered, or do you really feel like you have something else that you need to explore? And if they say they do, I just let them. But again, that's up to you. It's kind of how it feels right between you and the person that you're working with. So thanks, Sal. I appreciate that. Erica, do you feel like it's something anyone could do, or is an innate gift? And she's also a help. They, I'm just going to say they as pronouns for everybody. Anyone can do tarot. I used to be, I used to also think when I was younger that, oh, you have to have some special gift. You've got to be, no, again, it's a card. So as long as you are open-minded in your heart and open-minded in your mind, think chakras, think energy. If you're open to it, you can do it. Because it comes with a book that tells you what everything is, and you're working on feelings. So anyone can do it. It is kind of like a practice. Some people pick it up faster. Some people, it takes a little bit longer, and that's kind of like, it's finding what your magic is. I haven't really started with pendulum work, for example. I'm dying to get into it. I'd love to do scrying, which is mirror work. Haven't really done a whole lot of it yet. This felt right. So I've been kind of sticking with that. And the more I do it, the more it feels right. It's when I put the cards away and I kind of get banal and forget that I'm a witch and forget that I can do this. That's when it becomes rusty. It's like using it. If you're not using a skill, you forget that you can, that you know how to draw, and then you have to kind of practice. So, Joe, do you find the pictures on the minor arcana helpful or distracting? I find the Rider-Waite deck uncommunicative. I use the Morgan Greer. So, yeah. So for you, it sounds like the pictures sometimes can be too much. So I like to look at the pictures, but they can sometimes be overwhelming. So if you know that, like, for example, pentacles we know always represent money. So no matter what the rest of the picture is, if it's a pentacles, it's going to have something to do with money. So can you hand me? Yes. So I'm going to just kind of pull something up really quick. This is actually, and I don't remember her name. She was a sweet person. So last year during this class, there was a person there that actually could see auras. And as I was talking, it'll be hard to see. Oop, there we go. She drew my aura, and there was a jumper. So she put out jumper, but she drew my aura. So this is actually from last year's tarot tips and tricks class. But so, like each suit, fire, water, air, or earth is represented with, like, wands are associated with fire. Swords are associated with air. Pentacles are associated with earth. So you have the book that can tell you what to look for in the cards. So if the pictures become too distracting, you can just kind of go onto the basics. So I like using the pictures, but sometimes they are kind of like muddy and you're not quite, sometimes they aren't as communicative. And I think that might be part of the problem with the Rider-Waite deck for me, is the pictures just didn't speak to me. So that was a really, really good question. Let's see. Hi, Lisa. Hufflepuff, do you work with card reversals? Just noticed that some readers do and some don't, and was wondering what your take on this is. So reverse, I totally use reverse cards. To me, whatever way that a person pulls out the cards, there's a reason for it. That's how it is in life. If you pull something out, there's a reason for it to be in that way. So if it's in reversal, it can mean that it's something that's hindering you, like it's a block. So maybe it's that you're wanting something to, especially in like where you're wanting to progress into something and you're stuck and you can't get past it, or it's affecting you extra hard. So there's a reason for reversals. Some people just don't use them. Again, it's kind of a personal preference. I learned to use them originally, so I like to use them. But that's, yeah. So it's just kind of, it is a tool that you can use, but you don't have to. So thank you, Miss Lisa. All righty. So Vale, I'm gonna have a person that's gonna come kind of scoot over for a second. I'm gonna have hold on one second. So Vale, talk to me about, so Vale is new to tarot. They've not really been doing it for very long. I actually gave them their first deck. It was a deck that was given to me for my birthday. It was made for me. But I'm letting Vale use it. So, but like I said, they use Magic the Gathering cards. So I was going to ask you, how do you use them? Because there is no like arcana, there's no wands, and how do you find out like what the element is? How do you have the cards speak to you?
Okay, so do you want me on camera?
Yeah, so if you want to, there you go. This is Vale. This is my partner.
Right.
Hey, Vale. So how do you use magic cards?
So it depends on how your initial association with magic cards is. So did you start collecting because you liked the art? Did you start collecting because you liked the lore? Did you start collecting because you were a fanatic about the mechanics of the game? Are you a Spike? Are you a Timmy? Are you a Johnny? I think. Let's go. Anyway, it's whatever your heart, whatever your passion is specifically in that game. That's where your focus will be. If you love the mechanics, then look over your cards and draft. Y'all will know what that is if you care. Draft your cards out based on feel, the way you'd feel out your crystals. If the art is what was always so evocative to you, pour over your folders, because if you cared about them in the art, they're probably in folders.
Yeah.
And the ones that start to really speak to you or are evocative, then pull them out.
What is
together.
it? Yeah, it's like, what is it that it evokes?
Make them your deck for then. When they lose feeling, put them away.
Oh, that's a really, I hadn't even thought about that. That's a really cool thing. So then it's like an evolving deck.
Magic the Gathering has 10,000 magic cards in it. Like,
so you literally get to evolve your magic, and it can be a new deck for every reading.
it's a living creature as a game.
That's true. Oh, that's so cool. I never even thought about that. That was awesome. Okay. So for you, like, how, when you are using the one that I gave you, what is the difference for you? How do you approach looking at it? Do you look more at the pictures, or do you go more by like, because we don't really have a book unless it's this. Do you look more at that, or?
It's generally like the emotion I feel when I look at the art, or if there was some contradictory emotion at the moment that it came, because and you talked about jumpers. When I used, because I was a hard shuffler when I played Magic, played a lot of Uno, all of that.
Your cards fall out a lot.
I only use jumpers. I just ferociously shuffle until I have enough jumpers that's it called out to me. I didn't pick them; they picked me. So again, like I was saying, I'll go like, I'll put my hands over the cards to read them. So for you, it's different. You let the cards just literally jump out at you. That's really cool. You got just enough.
Awesome. All right. Do you find the Kabbalah Sephirothic tree helpful in interpreting the major arcana? I'm going to be honest with you, Joe. I have never used that spread, so it's not helpful for me. I just I'm so simple because my brain is so just like, so I just start with the 3, but there are so many different spreads. Like there's the Celtic cross spread. Like there is a tree, there's a 5 spread, whatever works for you, use it. I just kind of stuck with that one because it automatically felt good. And it's just what worked for me. So I'm one of those people, like, I'm bad about being like, oh, I should probably try new stuff every once in a while and see if it works better. But that's what Vale does. So then again, it's learning new things. So I'm like, oh, now I can think of that. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to close because we only have like 4 minutes left. I wanted to say thank you. Y'all's questions were baller. Thank you so much. I felt like y'all were right in the room with me. Y'all's energy last year, I had so much fun doing this, and I'm going to try to make sure that for every CONjuration from now on, normally Kath is with me. They weren't able to be here, but I'll shout out to Kath. We do panels together every year, also along with Margaret and Jay Littman. So shout out to them as well. But yeah, so please find us next year. I'm on Instagram. It is Spoonie, Spoonie, because disability. So we're Spoonie. So Spooniewitch 76. That's my Instagram. And I actually do tarot readings for, for professional. So it's if you're interested, you can always hit me up on Instagram. I'm always like, I'm a Hufflepuff. I'll give you the first one for free, and then and then if you want more, then we'll talk about stuff. But so yeah, so you guys, thank you so much. Any questions that you want answered, keep them. I'll over the weekend, I'll go through the Discord and I'll try to actually go in and add answers to any of the questions that jump out. But thank you guys so much. At 6 o'clock, I'm doing modern day witchcraft of a middle-aged woman. So that's going to be at 6. So you guys, thank you. I love you all so much. Have an amazing conjuration. And I'm with you all in spirit. And I can't wait to see you guys later. I love y'all. Y'all take care. Bye. Veils waving. Bye. They're just a discombobulated arm from the ether. Hello.
Goodbye.
Good.